Okay, good morning class. So we are going to start maths, I think today, from today. Already you have done the comprehension part. So myself Vinod Tiwari, I am taking CSAT classes almost from 8 to 10 years, and I am associated with Vision IAS in last 7 to 8 years, I think. Yeah, 7 to 8 years. So see, my approach for mathematics for CSAT is, if you see the paper, if I analyze the previous 3-4 year paper from when the pattern has suddenly changed, because initially UPSC was asking a normal question, very simple question from mathematics. From last 2-3 years, they are asking very concentrated question from some topic. So these topics are very important. So if you want to clear the CSAT, or if you want to get the cutoff marks in CSAT, you have to only, I can say, give maximum effort to these topics which I am going to take. The topic name is mostly percentage, ratio, number system. If you see the previous year paper, previous year paper of last 2-3 years, you will find out from number system itself, around 20-25 questions are there. So you can think of, out of 80 questions, some 20 questions are coming from single topic, that is number system. If you see the paper of 2015 or 16, you will find out mostly questions are from the percentage. Out of 30, suppose if 30 questions are coming, out of that, more than 60-70% questions are from percentage. And some basic building are there, percentage, ratio, number system, these are the basic topic. If you master these topic, you will able to solve the other topic also, like time, speed and distance. Time, speed and distance is completely dependent on the, we can say, the analytical part of percentage, ratio, LCM, SCF, all these things. If you are good in these things, you are able to solve the time, speed and distance. So understand, these 2-3 topics are very important, which we are going to cover in next 3-4 days. So next 3-4 days are very important for you, because I can say that next 3-4 days is going to decide whether you are going to clear the CSAT or not. I told you the reason. If you see the paper, out of 80, sometime 25-30 questions are from 1 or 2 topics. If I see summarize last 3 year paper, go and check number system. These one topic alone can give you around 40 to 50 marks. So you can think of, out of 65-66 marks, whatever you require, out of that 50 marks is coming from single topic, that is number system. If you see the 2-3 year back paper, you will find out percentage. Percentage is another topic which is very important, and if you see, more than 60-70% questions are directly from the percentage. And with the help of percentage, you are able to solve other topic also, like profit and loss, compound interest, simple interest, and many more topics, like mixture. Mixture is half mixture is dependent on percentage, and half mixture is dependent on ratio. Then your TSD, time, speed and distance. So all these topics we are going to cover, like 2 topics, very important one, percentage, number system, and ratio. These 3 topics are most important one. So we are going to start with the percentage. Fine, this is the most important topic. At least 4 to 5 questions directly from the percentage every year. This is the minimum number I am saying. This is the minimum number I am saying. Sometime this will be more than 10-15 questions also, but this is the minimum number, at least 4 to 5 questions. Then we will go with the number system. If you see the last 3 year paper, then I can say that more than 60-70% question of mathematics are directly from number system, but this pattern can change. So we can again say number system is very important. At least 7 to 8 questions are directly from the number system. Then your ratio part, ratio 3 to 5 questions. 3 to 5 questions. So these 3 topics, most important one. These 3 topics are the most important one. Once you cover the percentage, your profit and loss will be done. Profit and loss is again an easy one because that is exactly connected with your percentage topic. Once percentage is covered, you can do the CI and SI. CI and SI. You can do the data interpretation, because data interpretation mostly they are asking the concept of percentage or ratio. So most of the time data interpretation questions are directly from the percentage. So if I cover the total percentage as a unit, so I can say that minimum 10 questions are directly from percentage topic. Minimum 10 questions, and many more topic also, like a mixture. Once you are done with percentage, mixture, half of the mixture is done. So we can say that this mixture topic is also connected with percentage. So if I see everything, at least 10 questions are directly coming from the percentage topic. This is a very important one. Okay. Then number system. Actually the problem with the number system is, like suppose if any question doesn't fit in any topic, we will say that it is from number system. Because number system is what? Numbers, all about numbers. So whichever question, like we are not able to categorize, okay, this question belongs to this chapter, this question belongs to this topic. So we will say that this belongs to number system. Because in mathematics, in every question, there are some numbers are there, we have to calculate something. So we will connect with the number system. Suppose any puzzles question is there. So that puzzle question, we will say that it belongs to number system. It belongs to number system. So core number system, 7 to 8 question is done. Then ratio. Once the ratio is done, then along with that, ages problem, then partnership problem, then mixture problem. All these can be covered with the help of ratio. So ratio, if I connect collectively, so again I can say that 5 to 7 questions are directly from the ratio every year. So if you see 10, 17, then 5, around 20, 22 questions every year are coming from these 3 topics, which are number system, percentage and ratio. Sometime alone number system give you 20 questions. Like last year paper, last to last year paper, if you see and check, so more than 20 questions are directly from the number system itself. Okay. So these are the topics which are important, very important. Apart from this, the topic are TSD, time, speed and distance, then time and work, then average, and another important topic is LCM and SCF. So these are the arithmetic topic which UPSC is asking. Apart from this, there are some topics from higher mathematics, like probability, permutation, combination, then mensuration, geometry. So that portion UPSC is asking hardly 2-3 questions. So we will cover that topic in the last, because the effort required to cover these topics are equivalent to effort required to cover the last 4-5 topics, because they are very chapters are very big and a lot of theorems are there, everything is there, and it is also required a lot of time to understand. And but if you see the time, both time required arithmetic and higher mathematics times are almost same, but here you will get at least 80 to 90% question directly from arithmetics, and only 10% questions are coming directly from the higher mathematics. If I say the same effort, here 80 to 90% question and there only 10% question, so it's better if we focus only on these part. We will give some importance to the permutation, combination, number system, permutation, combination, probability, and don't worry, we will cover that part also, but we will not give more than 1 or 2 class for that. The reason is simple, because here we required less effort and we will get more marks. There we required more effort and we will get less marks. Okay. So these are the things which we are going to cover. Today we are going to start the very basic of the percentage. Next 2 class I will make sure your percentage basic concept is clear. Please, whatever doubt you have, suppose might be many of the students are there who are just like taking the math class first time after class 12th or 10th. They have not learned math from last 5-6 years. It's fine, it's perfectly fine. But my only point is, whatever doubt you have, just ask me as soon as possible. Otherwise, what happen if I'm covering any topic is look like everything is clear to you, and let's make it more interactive class rather than dormant class. So whatever doubt you have, if you are getting also, because in offline classes I ask my student, if you are getting say yes or no. It's not possible in the online class, but at least you can comment it, you can say yes or no if you are getting the concept. If you are not getting the concept, you can say no also. I'm perfectly okay with that, but please respond so that I will understand whether the concept is clear to you or not. It is very important for me. Otherwise, what will happen? I will move with my pace, and it might possible you are not able to understand. And this is the first class, so it's difficult for me also to understand your psychology, to understand your level and everything. After 1 or 2 class, I will judge your level and I will shift accordingly. Might be, suppose I'm going average today, but it might possible you are very good, your level is very good, so you will find it boring. Okay, what sir is telling is very simple thing. So I will increase my level accordingly, but you have to respond, then accordingly I will change my style of teaching. Okay. Now we are going to start with the percentage. Now 2-3 very quick concept here, and which is very important for you guys. The first concept is, what is the meaning of percentage? So if you see the percentage name itself, percent. Per means divide, cent means 100. So what is the meaning of percent? If I say X percent, so this sign is a sign of percent, and this percent sign means divide by 100. Per means divide, this is the per, and this is the cent. So percent simple meaning is divide by 100. So whenever anybody is asking what is the meaning of percent, so percent simple meaning is divide by 100. So X percent means X divided by 100. 20% means 20 divided by 100. 30% means 30 divided by 100. So this is simply divide by 100. Or we can say out of 100, out of X percent means, suppose 20% means out of 100 we are talking about 20. Out of 100 we are talking about 20. Out of 100 we are talking about 30. So suppose if I say 100 blocks are there, if suppose 100 blocks are there, so out of 100 blocks we are taking 20 blocks. Out of 100 blocks we are taking 30 blocks. So always understand one thing here, percentage means comparison. We are comparing something. We are comparing something. Suppose whenever we say 20%, so 20%, one mathematical meaning is 20 upon 100. But what is the actual meaning of 20%? So if I say, what is 20%? So your next question will be, sir, 20% of which quantity or what? 20% of what? Because 20% simple meaning is 20 upon 100. But what we are trying to do, we are trying to find out the 20% of any number. So when we are finding out 20% of any number, so see, suppose this marker is in my hand. So this marker, this is the original length of marker. This is the original length of marker. So the original length of marker means this is your 100%. Anything which is complete is equal to 100%. Now suppose if I remove the cap, so now this is what is left is 80%. What is left is 80%. So this 80% is with respect to the original quantity. With respect to the original quantity. Like suppose if I say, if anybody say what is the cutoff of UPSC prelims this year. So suppose a student is saying the cutoff is 52%. Cutoff is 52%. So what is the meaning of this? The GS paper 1, total mark is 200. Out of this, the cutoff is 51%. That means 102 marks. So now try to understand. This 102 is representing the 51% marks. This 102 is representing the 51% marks. And this 51% is with respect to the total marks. With respect to the total marks. That means for UPSC prelims, this 200 is 100%. And out of this 100%, the cutoff is 51%. That means 102 marks. The cutoff is 51%. That means 102 marks. This is the basic meaning of the percentage. So, if I ask you how much marks you score in the class 12th, suppose a student is saying 30 or like not 30, because if 30% he will fail. Suppose 60%. Suppose 60%. So, what is the meaning of this? Suppose class 12th total marks is 500. Out of 500, a student score 60% marks, that means 300 marks. So what is the meaning of this? Here, this 300 is a 60%. And 60% with respect to what? 60% with respect to this 500. So this 500 is representing 100%, and a student scores 60% marks, that is equal to 300. I hope this is clear to everybody. So percentage is a relative thing. We are always finding out with respect to something. Class 12th marks, 60% marks. So if I say 60% marks, so you have to say the total marks is 500. Out of that, 60% marks is 300. Okay. Now, if I say find out 40%. If I say find out 40%, so what you can say? 40% of which number? 40% of what? Because whenever we are saying 40%, 40% doesn't mean anything, because what we can say? 40% mathematical meaning is 40 upon 100. But if we have to find out 40% of any number, so we should know 40% of what? 40% of X, 40% of Y, 40% of Z. Suppose a student will come from US and you ask him, how much marks you scored in class 10th? And he say, I have scored 75% marks. And you don't know the total marks of class 10th in US. So you will ask, 70% of how much? Like 70% of what? What is the total marks? What is the total marks? Then only you are able to find out the 75% marks. Otherwise, you don't know what is 75% of like a class 10th marks, because you should know the total marks there. So understand, whenever we are asking 40%, 30%, 20%, so the first question which come in your mind is 40% of which number, 20% of which number, 30% of which number. So always understand, percentage is a relative quantity. So we are always finding out with respect to something. With respect to something. Are you getting my point or not? Are you getting my point or not? Okay. Let's give more example. Suppose a student is in Tamil Nadu board and a student is in the UP board, and both students got 70% marks in class 10th. 70% marks in class 10th. Okay? If I ask you, suppose this is student A and this is student B, who score more marks? Student A or student B? So your first question will be, both score 70%, both score 70%, but we don't know the total marks. Might be Tamil Nadu board total marks is 600 and might be in UP board total marks is 500. Total marks is 500. So until and unless we don't know the total marks, Until unless we don't know total marks, we cannot find out the 70% of both number. We cannot find out the 70% of both number, because if I ask you which score more marks, student A or student B, we cannot find out the answer, and the reason is simple, because we don't know 70% of which number or 70% of which number here. So until and unless we don't know the total marks, we cannot find out the 70% of this. So the first concept which you should know, we cannot compare the percentage, until and unless we know the base value. Until unless we know the base value or relationship between the base value. What is the first concept? We can't compare the percentage value, until and unless we know the base value or relationship between them, This is the first concept. On this concept, UPSC have asked many questions in last 10 year, 12 year. Many questions, or not only UPSC, every exam you can go, state PCS, any exam you will go, you will find out one question at least out of this concept. We cannot compare the percentage until and unless we are sure we don't know the base value. Okay, I will give the question. Suppose if I ask you 20% is more or 30% is more, your first question will be 20% of which number, 30% of which number, because until and unless we don't know the base value, we cannot compare these two. So the first thing is, you should know the base value, then only you are able to answer. Please understand this thing very clearly. Again I am saying, at least 1 or 2 questions are directly from this concept every year almost. Either they are asking in percentage, or they are asking in DIE, or they are asking somewhere else, but at least 1 or 2 questions are directly from this concept. So you cannot compare the percentage directly until and unless you don't know the base value. So please understand this thing. You can only compare percentage when you know the relationship between the base value or exact base value. So if anybody asks you, suppose anybody is giving a state PCS and you ask him how much marks you got, he said 20% or 70% or 80%, whatever it is, and suppose you also got 70%, but you can't compare both marks until unless you know the total value. So it is very important to know the total value, then only you can compare the percentage. This is the basic thing. Now some question on this concept. Okay, suppose in 2020 in Vision IAS 30% of the students are from UP, 20% from Delhi, 10% from MP, 25% from South India, and 15% from other states. This is in 2020. number of students from different state who joined the Vision IS. Then in 2021, suppose from UP number of students become 25%, Delhi also become 25%, MP become 15%, and South India also become 15%, and this become okay. Total students are showing 100%. So this is 2020 number of students who joined from the different state to Vision IS. This is the data of 2021. If I ask you one question, in 2021, from how many state number of student increases who joined the Vision IS? From in 2021, how many states are there from which the number of student increases who join the Vision IS? Tell me the answer. In 2021, how many states are there? I am asking how many states. So answer will be either 1, 2, 3, 4, this. How many states are there from which the total number of students increases who join the Vision IS? Tell me the answer of this question. In 2021, how many states are there? In 2021, how many states are there from which total number of students increases who joined Vision IS? Okay, so generally what the student look, they will see, okay, from Delhi 2020 it was 20%, in 2021 it become 25%, in MP it was 10%, now this become 15%, so there are two states, and then other one, here it was 15, it was 20, so they will say there are three states, one is Delhi, MP and other states, so from these three, the total number of students increases. But what is the problem, basic problem here? The basic problem here is we don't know the base value. We don't know the total number of students here. Are you getting my point or not? Might be in 2020 total number of students was 1 lakh, and in 2021 total number of students become suppose 1000 only. So you will see that none of the state the total number of students increases if I give total value like this. If I give total value like this, and if I reverse it, this become 1000, this become 1 lakh, then every state total number of students increases. So understand, or we can think like this way, suppose here total number of students is X, here total number of students is Y. So until and unless we don't know the value of X or Y or relationship between X and Y, we cannot find out the answer. We cannot find out the answer. Okay. Yes, the answer will be can't be determined. Answer cannot be 3 and 4. Some students are saying answer is 3 or 4. No. The answer will be can't be determined. And what is the reason? The reason is we don't know the base value. Devashish, Neha, the answer will be can't be determined. We don't know the answer. And why we are not able to find out the answer? Because we don't have base value. I told you, suppose this become 1 lakh and this becomes, suppose, I will say only 100. Suppose in 2020 the total number of students was 1 lakh and 2021 total number of students was 100. So you will find out from none of the state total number of students increases. Nothing is given. Total value is not given. Total value is not given because if you see here 20% of 1 lakh is 20,000 and what is 25% of 100 is only 25. So you can see that even from Delhi also total number of students is not increased. Total number of students is not increased. So understand, until and unless you don't know the base value, you cannot find out the answer. You cannot find out the answer. So to get the answer, you should know the base value. And this is what I have told you. This is what I have told you. So comparison of percentage, please keep this in your mind. And I told you the reason, because UPSC is asking direct 1 or 2 question from this concept. You cannot compare the percentage until and unless you know the base value or relationship between them. Okay. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is making sense. Okay. Now the next concept is, what is X percent of Y? What is X percent of Y? What is X percent of Y? So understand this X percent of Y, simple, see, in mathematics, the meaning of is multiplication. X percent means X upon 100 multiply by Y. So whenever we are saying X percent of Y, the simple meaning is X percent means X upon 100, of means multiplication, Y means Y. So X percent of Y simple meaning is XY upon 100. Whenever they are asking, suppose 35% of 150, the simple meaning is 35 upon 100 multiply by 150. 35 upon 100 multiply by 150. 35 upon 100 multiply by 150. This is the meaning of 35% of 150. Okay? Okay, another question for you. Another question for you. A is given as X percent of Y and B is given as Y percent of X. Which of the following will be true? Which of the following will be true? First option is A will be more than B, B will be more than A is equal to B, can't be determined. Tell me the answer. A is equal to X percent of Y, B is equal to Y percent of X. Which of the following will be true? A will be more than B, B will be more than A is equal to B, or can't be determined. Tell me the answer of this question. Tell me the answer of this question. Okay, one answer I'm getting C. Okay. Okay, almost everybody is giving the C answer. Fine. So almost everybody is giving the C answer. So understand C will be correct one. Why? Because whenever we are saying X% of Y, simple meaning is X upon 100 multiply by Y. This simple meaning is XY upon 100. And when we are saying Y% of X, the simple meaning is Y upon 100 into X. That again equal to Yx upon 100, and both are equal. So this will be equal to A is equal to B. Okay, everybody almost has given the C answer. So everybody has given the C answer. So C will be the correct one. C will be the correct one. A is equal to B. Both should be equal. X is equal to Y. So you can understand always, sometimes they will confuse you like this, 0.07% of 7,000 or 7,000% of 0.007. So both should be equal. Both should be equal. Because in examination sometimes it's happen, we will see, okay, this number and this is the smaller percentage, this is bigger number. Sometimes we get confused. So always understand these both should be equal. Both should be equal. This both should be equal. Okay, then suppose many times UPSC is asking question like this. UPSC is asking question like this. After covering 15 or 12, like the question will be like this. After covering 12 kilometer of distance, after covering 12 kilometer of distance, a person find that he covered 80% of total distance. 80% of total distance. Find out total distance. Find out total distance. Okay. Now the language can be little bit better. The essence of the question will remain same. UPSC has asked many times this kind of question. So understand, whenever we are talking about percentage, understand, first see this. A very simple question. Suppose I am saying out of 500, a student scored 300 marks. This is one way of saying this. The second way of saying this is, out of 100% marks, a student score 60% marks. So understand, one number and another percentage. So this number can be changed into percentage. So we can either say out of 500, a student scored 300 marks, or we can say like this, out of 500, a student scored 60% marks. Both things are same. Both things are same. Out of 500, a student scored 300 marks, or out of 500, a student scored 60% marks. So understand, each number can be represented in the percentage term with respect to the total quantity. With respect to the total quantity. So what is the question here? A person has covered 12 kilometer. A person has covered 12 kilometer. Suppose this is total distance. He covered 12 kilometer. And he find that out of total distance, he has covered 80% of that. He has covered 80% of that. That means somehow the question is saying that this 12 kilometers should be equal to the 80% of the number. This 12 kilometer is equal to the 80% of the number. Are you getting my point or not? So when they are asking the total distance, so we have to understand that total distance will be equal to 100% or not. The total distance should be equal to 100%. And what information we have? The information we have is 80% is equal to 12 kilometer. How to find out 100%? Either you will get 20% out of this. How to get 20%? Divide by 4. And why only dividing by 4? Because when I divide 80 by 4, I will get 20%, and 20% is equal to 3. So 80% is 12, 20% is 3. If I add both, 100% is equal to 15. This is the one way. The other way is you can go directly. 80% is equal to 12. By unitary method, 1% is equal to 12 upon 80, and 100% is equal to 12 upon 80 multiplied by 100. Now you can 4 2s are 3s are. Again 15. Again 15. So you can go either way. You can go either way. And this is the actual UPSC question. The language was little bit better, but this was the actual UPSC question. So understand this mathematics. Whenever they are saying like this, they are actually talking about the total value. They are actually talking about the total value. Okay. Many of you have given already like a correct answer. So I am moving forward. Now, how to find out the percentage? I told you one way. Suppose they are saying 21% of 150. The first way is simply 21 upon 100 multiplied by 150. Understand? UPSC is never going to ask this question, but yes, while solving question, you required this. While solving question, you required this. There is a better way to solve this. There is a better way to solve this. One way I told you. The second way is, whenever we are finding out 21% of this number, so understand this number is equal to 100%. This number is always 100%. So if 150 is equal to 100%, so always we try to break them into 10% and 1%. Can we find out 10% out of this? If I divide both sides by 10, we will get 15 is equal to 10%. If I again divide by 10, we will get 1.5 as 1%. So what information we have? 150, 10% is 15. 150, 1% is 1.5. 150, 10% is 15. 150, 1% is 1.5. 1.5. Okay? And this is true for anything, any number. Whenever any number is given, understand this is equal to 100%. For 10%, just put a decimal before unit place. So 43.5 become your 10%. If we have to find out 1%, this 4.35 become 1%. Any number you can take and you can simply find out the 10% and 1% out of that. Suppose already decimal are there. Already decimal are there. And we have to find out 10% of this number. So 43.575, just move decimal here and you can say that 43.575 is a 10% of this number. What is 1% of this number? 4.357. 4.3. See, this look very easy, but yes, it will help you a lot. It will help you a lot. I will tell you, like we are going to use all this thing. So understand clearly, whenever a number is given, 10% of that number always become, just put a decimal before the unit place. This become 43.5 is 10%, 4.35 is 1%, and this will go on like this. And this will go on like this. Is this making sense or not? Is this making sense or not? Okay. So, what we have to find out? We have to find out that 21% of 150. So, what is 21%? You can calculate mentally also. 21% simple meaning is 20% plus 1%. 20%, okay. 21% of 150 simple meaning is 20% plus 1%. Can we find out 20% of this number? What is 10% of this number? 10% of this number become 15. 10% of this number become 15. What is 20% of this number? 20% of this number become 30. What is 1% of this number? 1.5. So simply we can say that this answer become 31.5. Answer become 31.5. Why divide by 10? See, divide by 10 simple is because we want 10% and 1%. See, understand here the concept. Wait. Let me explain again. Suppose anybody asking you 32% of 180. 32% of 180. I told you one method. The first method is simply 32 upon 100 multiply by 180. This will take time. This will take not much time, but this will take some time. But we can do it without pen and pencil. How we can do it? 32% we can break it into 30% plus 2%. Can we say like this or not? 32% is equal to 30% plus 2%. And how we can find out 30%? We can simply find out 30% if I multiply 10% into 3, and for 2% we can multiply 1 by 1 into 2. So understand, to find out 32% what we required? We actually required the value of 10% and value of 1%. We actually required value of 10% and value of 1%. Okay, I will give time. Don't worry. I will go little bit slow. Don't worry. So now you will understand. 32% of 180. Again I am repeating. 32% means what? 32% means 30% plus 2%. We can say like this or not? Or any number you can take. Suppose we have to find out 21% of 125. So what we will say? 21% means 20% plus 1%. 20% simple meaning is 10% into 2 plus 1%. So actually to find out 21%, what we required? We required 10% and 1%. Or any other number, suppose we are saying 27% of 175. So again we require 20% plus 7%. So you can again find out 10% into 2 plus 1% into 7. So actually what we required, we always required value of 10% and 1% in the base. 10% and 1% in the base. We actually require 10% and 1% in the base. So what I told you, whenever we are finding out 32% of 180, the simple meaning is this 180 is equal to 100%. This 180 is equal to, Shubhangi Tyagi, you have, I will take it up just after some time. I'm taking doubt of Muskan why we are dividing by 10. So I'm taking that so that everybody will understand. 32% of 180. So this 180 is always equal to 100%. Suppose if anybody asks you, find out 20% of this marker. Find out 20% length of this marker. So the total length of this marker is 100%. And suppose we have to find out 20% out of this. So I will say this is suppose 20%. So total always equal to 100%. So 180 is equal to 100%. We have to find out 32%. So I tell you a different method is there. In that method, actually we require 10% and 1%. Actually we require 10% and 1%. Are you getting my point or not? We require 10% and 1%. So how we can find out 10% and 1%? We have just seen 180 is equal to 100%. How we can find out 10%? If I divide both sides by 10. And why only dividing by 10? Because our aim is to get 10%. And out of 100%, we will get 10% if I divide by 10. That's why I am dividing this number by 10. I am not dividing by anything else. I am not dividing by 20 or I am not dividing by 50 or any other number. Why I am dividing by 10? Because our aim is to get 10%. So from here I can say 18 is equal to 10%. 18 is equal to 10%. And how to get 1%? Again divide this by 10. Again divide this by 10. So if I again divide this by 10, so 1.8 become 1% of this number. Now you can do it here. 10% is equal to 18 into 3, 1.8 into 2. So this becomes 54 plus 3.6, so 57.6. And now it looks like a lengthy process, but no, it's a very easy calculation. You can do it without pen and pencil once you understand this thing. So I told you the shortcut. Whenever a number is given, the 10% of this number is just put decimal before unit place. That means 18 become 10%. If you have to find out 1% of this number, just put decimal after 2 place. 1.8 become 1%. And now if you know these two, you can find out answer very easily. Suppose 21% of 125. Now please, like a last question, okay, you have doubt. Dekho, hua kya, most of the student has given the answer. So I thought everybody understand. That's why I move ahead. But if you are not able to understand, I will take it up. Don't worry. First concentrate on this. Otherwise, when I was taking this, I will take that question. You will ask this one. So first understand this concept. Once this is clear, I will go to the previous one. Don't worry. I will go to the previous one, don't worry. But first focus on this thing. Otherwise, when I will take that question, you will ask this. You will ask this. So understand this concept first. So 21% of 125, can we do it without pen and pencil? Yes, we can do it. What is 10% of this number? 10% of this number is 12.5. We can say or not? 10% of this number is 12.5 into 2, 1% of this number is 1.25. This is 25 plus 1.25. This equal to 26.25. And that will be your answer. That will be your answer. This is the one way. The other way I told you, the other way is 21 upon 100 multiply by 125. If you do like this way also, the answer will remain same. The answer will remain same. Answer is not going to change. The answer will remain same. Either you can do calculation like this, or you can do without pen and pencil. I always do by this way, and I never require pen and pencil for such question. Is this making sense or not? Is this making sense or not? Please tell me, is this clear to everybody? Is this clear to everybody? Why we have divided by 10? Why we are taking 10% and 1%? I think this should be clear to everybody. Please tell me. And don't worry about the previous question. I will come to that. Don't worry. Now I start adjusting my teaching style according to your queries. I started adjusting my teaching style according to your queries. I will get to know how much you are understanding, and then accordingly I will go along with that pace. Now tell me, is this clear to you or not? Any doubt you can ask? Otherwise, I will move forward. If you have a doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I will move forward. Any doubt you can ask, otherwise we can move forward. Okay, I will come this to little bit after some time, because this required another concept, because we can do like this way also, but it's lengthy process. It's a lengthy process. We have a shortcut for this also. Okay, now suppose we have to find out the 48% of 150. We have to find out the 48% of 150. So one way we know, one way is 40% plus 8%. This is the one way. But there is a better way available. What is the better way? We can say 48% is equal to 50% minus 2%. We can say this or not? 48% is equal to 50% minus 2%. We can say this. Okay? And we know this. This is equal to 100%. So what is the 50% of this number? If this is 100%, 50% of this number become 75. How come? Just divide by 2. Because if I divide by 2, this becomes 75 and this becomes 50%. Okay? What is 2% of this number? 10% is 15, 1% is 1.5, so 2% become 3. answer becomes 72 and you can directly do it. You can directly do it. See, many of the students are saying, sir, take the previous year, how to calculate a 62 1.5. We will come to the everything, don't worry. First understand the basic one, and our agenda is to take all the previous year question. Like once the concept is clear, we will come to the previous year question, because the idea is first the concept should be clear. Might be you are very good in the concept part, but I have to take to the whole class. So accordingly we will go. First we will focus on the concept part, because we don't know whether UPSCs are going to ask the previous or something new. But if concept is clear, we can solve the previous year as well as the new question also. So my first focus is to clear your concept. Then my second focus will be take the previous year question. So we will go accordingly, don't worry. We will go accordingly, don't worry. If you are finding this as a confusing, again I will say go with the basic one. Go with the basic one. This is a very simple thing. If you are finding it confusing, go with the basic one. You already know this thing. You already know this thing. This will take little bit time, but fine. You can at least solve the problem. You can at least solve the problem. So simple thing is 2, 3, and you can find out the answer. You can find out the answer directly. So if you're not able to understand this part, go with the basic one. That is also a simple thing. Go with the basic one. That is also a simple thing. So for 48%, simply go with a 50% minus 2. So don't become a stereotype. Suppose they are asking 47%. So don't go with a 40% plus 7%. Answer will remain same. But what is the best way? The best way is find out 50% minus 3%. Find out the 50% minus 3%. So this is the best way. Otherwise, the basic approach, you know, if you are not able to understand this process, go with the basic one. That is a very simple thing. Okay. Now, suppose we have to find out the 75% of 130. 75% of 130. Okay? 75% of 130. of 130. So how we can find out? We can simply find out, we can write 75% is equal to 50% plus 25%. 50% plus 25%. Okay, we can write this thing or not? The simple way is 75 upon 100 multiply by 130. This is 3, this is 4. 3 upon 4 into 130, and you will find your answer. You will find your answer. 3 upon 4 into 130, and you will find your answer. This is the simple way. Apply this. Whosoever is able to understand this thing, they can do it without pen and pencil also. 75% means 50% plus 25%. I told you this number is equal to 100%. This number is equal to 100%. If 130 is equal to 100%, what is 50% of this? 50% we can write like this or not? 100% upon 2 or not? We can write 50% is equal to 100% upon 2 plus 25% we can write like 50% upon 2. So 100% is equal to 130, if I divide by 2, this becomes 65. This becomes 65. And then again, this becomes the 50%. This becomes the 50%. And now if I divide again by 2, I will get 65 plus 32.5. And if I add 97.5 will be the 75% of 130. So either you can go by this way or you can go by simple 3 by 4 into 130. Both will be same. Both will be same. देखो, nothing is different. It's all about how you are going to calculate. See, as a teacher I can say, this is the method which give you lot of, if you understand this method, this will give you lot of advantage over this method. This will give you lot of advantage over this method. First thing is very clear. UPSC is not going to ask this question. What is 75% of 130? We are very clear. This will come in between of the question when we are solving. Okay. So I think the class stopped in between because of net issue. I hope this is working fine now. Is working? I think you have to connect the net here also because it's not connected. So actually I was explaining, some students are asking what is the difference between the first, second and third method. There is nothing difference. The thing is that what I told you, by my experience I can say if you understand this method, this will help you a lot, because I told you UPSC is not going to ask this question. This will come in between, and sometime we have to do the approximation also. Sometime we have to do the approximation also. So for approximation and all, this will help you a lot. This will help you a lot. If you are going by this method, nothing will change. The answer will remain same. It will take little bit time, but yes, see, now the question is not whether you are able to solve out of 80, 60 questions, 70 questions. Now the simple thing is whether you are able to clear the cutoff or not. So suppose if I am not able to understand this thing, okay, I am okay with that, because my aim is not to do PhD in the mathematics. My aim is only to clear the cutoff, and this is, I am okay with that, because if I am getting this part, I can solve it and I can find out the answer, because UPSC is not going to give this thing. This will come in between somewhere. In between somewhere. This is what? This is, I told you, this is a different way to find out the answer. Different way to find out the answer. And if you understand this, you are able to visualize question in much better way. This is what I can say. This is what I can say. So you should know and understand. Please give your full attention here. I am telling everything. You are asking the same question again and again. Sir, why 1%? Why 10%? I have explained you why 1%, why 10%. Now 75%, I can go with this way also. I can go with 70% plus 5%. This is another way. We can go with 100% minus 25%. This is another way. We can go with 80% minus 5%. Answer will remain same. Answer will remain same. But what I am telling is, this is the method which we can say, this is the best one, because it will take less time. If you understand this thing, it will take less time. Why? Because 130, 100% we know. 50% means just half of this. That means 65. And if I half of 50%, I will get 25% or not. What is 25%? Simply 50% upon 2. Just half of this value. is 25%. So half of this is 50 and half of this is 25. So total is 130. Half of this become 50% and half of this become 25%. Simply we will get the answer. Simply we will get the answer. So this is the just way, like for example, if suppose you are coming for the offline classes, to go home there are 5 ways. There are 5 ways. Might be there are some shortcuts, some long cut, or some other ways are there. So which way you will choose? The best way you will choose or not? Similarly, to find out 75%, this is the one way, this is second way, this is third way, fourth way, fifth way, and by my 10-year experience, I can say if you are able to find out the answer by this way, this is the best way. Suppose you go every day your home, so you are the best person to tell us which is the best way to go home from coaching to your like a home. Because you have experience, every day you are going there. So same way I can say, if you are finding out 75% by this way, this will give you a little bit advantage. But that doesn't mean that if you are solving by this way, you are not able to clear the exam. Nothing, I am not saying nothing like this. I am saying try to understand this. If you are able to understand, it's okay. Otherwise, you can solve by this way, because now the aim is not to get 150 or 170 marks. Now the aim is only get 66, 67 marks to clear the examination. So it's not required to do it by the shortest way only. You can solve by this way or this way. Any way you can solve the problem. So 75%, one way is 50% plus 25%. Another way is simply 75 upon 100 multiply by 130. You can solve it. Similarly, 27% of 175, simply we can say 27 upon 100 multiply by 175. This is the one way to solve. The other way is this 10% into 2 plus 1% into 7, or the best way is 25% plus 2%. So we can find out 25% like same way, then we can find out the 1% and we can find out the 2%. So these are the just ways to solve the problem, nothing else. Don't get so much confused here. Why 10%? Why 1%? Question is fine, but try to understand why we are doing all this thing, to make your life easier. To make your life easier. This is the basic aim we have. If you are going by this way, your life become little bit easy. This is the only aim which I have right now. Now you can ask. Now you can ask your doubts. Now you can ask your doubts. Somebody is asking 75% of 150. Now you will solve it. The first way is 75 upon 100 multiply by 150. This is the one way to solve. This will come as 4. This will come as 6. Now you can solve it. You can find out the answer. The another way is 75% is 50% plus 25%. What is 50%? This is 100%. So half of this become 50%. What is the half of this? Half of this is 75. And half of this become 25. What is half of this? 75 upon 2. That means 37 upon 5. 37.5. You will add these two values, you will get your answer. You can ask your doubt if you have. Otherwise, we will move to the next part. You can ask if you have any doubt here. You can ask if you have any doubt here. Okay. You can check beta where your answer is correct or wrong. You can find out 27% of 175. Just multiply and you can find out 27 upon 100 multiply by 175. You can find out. Do it by yourself. Anything you want to ask till now? Okay, take your time 2-3 minutes. Take 2-3 minutes. Just revise. If you have any doubt, ask me. Otherwise, I will move to the next concept. Otherwise, I will move to the next concept. I'm waiting for your answers. If you have a doubt, please ask me. Otherwise, I will move to the next concept. If you have any doubt, take 2-3 minutes. If you have any doubt, just ask me right now. Okay. Now a fresh concept I am going to start. Understand this concept. The concept is change. The concept is change. What is change? Understand the first thing is change is neither positive nor negative. Change is total distance I will explain, don't worry. When I will take break, I will explain that question. Explain the minus method of percentage again. Okay. Minus method is what? Suppose we have to find out 48%. So 48% one way was simply we can find out 40% plus 8%. But what is the best way? The best way is 50% minus 2%. And why 50% minus 2%? Because finding out 50% is very easy or not. Any number is given. Suppose 125 is given. How to find out 50% of this number? We can simply divide by 2 and we will find out 50% of this number. Any number, suppose 400 is given. What is 50% of this number? 50% of this number is half of this or not? What is 50% of this marker? Just half of this or not? So finding out 50% is very easy. That's why I ask you, don't become a stereotype. You have to always go like this. Use your brain and we can solve it in much easier way. Like 48%, we can simply find out 50% minus 2%. And why 50%? I told you, finding out 50% of any number is very easy. And why it is easy? Because simply we can divide by 2. We can divide by 2. So 50% of this number is, okay, I'm not going to explain again and again same thing. You can go home, see the video again. Still if you will find problem, I will take it up. Otherwise, I will not able to move. Otherwise, I will not able to move. I am going very slowly. You are asking same thing again and again. I am not going to take. You can go home, again revise by looking at the video. If you are not able to understand, I am okay with that. I will come tomorrow. I will take your all the doubts. Don't worry for that. But now I am not going to take the same thing of 75% or if you are not able to understand, I told you the basic method. Simply do it like this way. 75 upon 100 multiply by whatever number is given. You can just simply multiply and find out the answer. Like a 2 and 5 ones. Okay? So you can go by this way. Is better to solve like this. Otherwise, it's become very problematic for me to complete the syllabus. I will only able to tell you only this percentage. So basic is 50%, simply because 50% of any number, finding 50% of any number is very easy. So that's why this is the one way to solve it. Okay? Now you can go home. I told you the basic method. You can solve by that. Otherwise, I will take it up. Okay. Now change. So I told you change is neither positive nor negative. What is the meaning of this? Suppose any number was 10. If I subtract 2, this become 8. If I add 2, this become 12. Understand? The original number was 10. And now this 8 become the new number. New number. This was original number. And this become new number. This become new number. So in both cases we will say that the original number has changed. In both cases we will say that the original number has changed. Suppose if I say Mr. X salary has changed than previous year. So when I am saying change, we are not able to find out whether it is positively changed or negatively changed. Because if I say original number is changed, so it can become, if I subtracting something, then also is changed. If I adding something, then also is changed. So in both cases, the number is changed. In both cases, the number is changed. So that's why change is neither positive nor negative until and unless it say that positive change or negative change. Positive change or negative change. When we say my salary is positively changed than previous year, that means that something is getting added. Something is getting added or my salary is increased. When I am saying my salary is negatively changed because of pandemic and all, what that this means? This means that whatever I was getting, now I will get less salary, and the reason is because of pandemic and all. So whenever we say change, change means either positive or negative, but something happened in the original number. Something happened in the original number. Now understand here, three quantities are involved. Three quantities are involved. Suppose any number is 10, we are adding 15. Now this become, we are adding 5, this become 15. This is called as initial value. 10 is your initial value, 15 is your final value, and this 5 is your change. Now this can positive, this can be a negative one. So from here we can say that initial value plus change is equal to final value. Or we can say that change is equal to final value minus initial value. This is the first thing which you should know. Change is equal to final value minus initial value. Change is equal to final value minus initial value. See, so from here I can say that, in this I can say that the change is equal to final value is 15, initial value is 10, that is coming as 5. No sign means positive sign, so we can say change is positive. Change is positive. But suppose if the question is like this, 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. This is initial value. This is final value. Here change is equal to 7 minus 10. That is equal to minus 3. And minus sign showing here is negative change. Negative change. So change will always come with a sign, either positive or negative. The positive tell us the increment. Something is getting increased. And the negative tell us something is getting decreased. Something is getting decreased. So what we have learned? Change. Change is neither positive nor negative. First concept. Second concept is, whenever we are finding out change, change is always equal to final value minus initial value. What is initial value? Initial value are those values in which we are changing something. Either we are adding something or we are subtracting something. So change is equal to final value minus initial value. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now a concept from which the questions are coming. Now this is the change. Now the concept is percent of change. So I told you in the initial of the class, the percent is with respect to something. So percent of change is with respect to something, and what is that something here? We are changing with respect to initial value or not? So always percent of change is equal to final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. Change, percent of changes always be find out with respect to initial value. Percent of changes find out with respect to always initial value. This you should know. Percent of changes always will be find out with respect to the initial value. So we can say that percent of change is equal to change, because final value minus initial value is equal to change upon initial value into 100. Change upon initial value into 100. Okay. This will help you a lot. This will help you a lot. This will help you in DI. This will help you in the percentage. Everywhere this will help you. Now, we will try to understand the language of the mathematics. See, this change is, whenever change is positive, that simple meaning is increment, more. Whenever change is positive, the simple meaning is, sir, but we are getting change either positive or negative. Yes. See, that positive and negative means what? See, like if I say increment. So increment means what? Increment means addition. Or if I say decrement. So when I say decrement, so decrement itself is telling something is getting decreased, something is getting subtracted or not. Try to understand. Whenever I say decrement, my salary is decreased. So that means that when I say salary is decreased, that means something is getting subtracted. Suppose last year I was getting 10,000 rupees per month. So this last month I was getting 10,000 rupees per month, and this month my salary is decreased. That means my salary is subtracted. Suppose I am getting 8,000 rupees from this month. Okay, so whenever I am saying decrement, that itself is saying, okay, something is getting subtracted, but when I am saying my salary is change, so when I say change is not saying anything. It can increase, it can decrease. That means I have to say along with sign. I have to say along with sign, my salary has changed by minus 2,000 rupees. And why minus 2,000 rupees? Because if I say my salary is changed by 2,000 rupees, we are not sure whether the increment of 2,000 or decrement of 2,000. So here we have to say the sign also. And why sign? Because change is neither positive nor negative. That's why we are taking the help of sign, positive sign or negative sign. But in decrement or increment, we are not saying any sign. Why? Because increment itself is saying something is increased. Decrement is itself saying something is getting subtracted. Are you getting my point or not? So always understand, whenever change is positive, that means increment. Positive means addition. Positive means addition. That means either whenever increment word is there, listen very carefully, I am telling you very basic. Whenever increment word is there, whenever more word is there, whenever profit word is there, that simple meaning is something is getting added. Something is getting added. Understand? This is the language of mathematics. For example, if I say X salary is 20,000 more than Y. Suppose a simple statement. X salary is 20,000 more than Y. As soon as I will say more, that means something is getting added. And what is getting added? 20,000. So suppose Y salary is Y. So X salary will be Y salary plus 20,000. Now see the statement. X salary is 20,000 more than Y. X salary is 20,000, more means addition, then Y. That means whatever Y salary is there, if I add 20,000, that will become X salary. So whenever this increment word will come, whenever more word will come, whenever profit word will come, that simple meaning is something is getting added and something is getting changed. And what change? Positively change. See here, more means addition. So this is the language of mathematics. They will give language like this. They will ask you the question. So you should know this thing. Whenever this more is coming, that simple meaning is addition. Okay? Similarly, whenever change is negative, that simple meaning is decrement, discount, loss. So whenever these terms will come, the first thing which come in your mind is something is getting subtracted. If I say there is a discount of 20%, that means कुछ तो decrease हो रहा है. Something is getting decreased. Something is getting negatively changed. Why? Because there is a discount, and discount meaning is negative. Suppose if I say my salary is decreased by 2,000, that means something is getting decreased, something is getting subtracted. Okay? So whenever these terms will come, that simple meaning is negative. Any doubt you can ask? Otherwise I am coming to the question part. Any doubt you can ask? Otherwise I am coming to the question part. If you have a doubt, you can ask right now. Any doubt you can ask, otherwise? Okay. Now, We are talking about percent of change. So understand very clearly, whenever they will say percent of more, whenever they will say percent of increment, whenever they will say percent of decrement, whenever they will say percent of profit, whenever they will say percent of loss, whenever they will say percent of discount, actually they are asking what? They are asking percent of change. So this is another thing which you have to keep in your mind. Whenever they will say X is how much percent more than Y, the first thing which come in your mind is they are asking percent of change. Okay? How much percent X increase than Y, then they are asking percent of change. X is how much percent less than Y, then they are asking percent of change. They will say Reliance Industry 2002 profit is how much percent more than 2001 profit, that means they are asking percent of change. They will say the number of students in 2021 from in Vision IS is how much percent more than number of students of 2020 in Vision IS, that means how much percent more than, that means they are asking percent of change. What is the percent of profit? That means they are asking percent of change. If they are asking what is the percent of discount, that means they are asking percent of change. Please listen, I am saying you the golden words. And why I am saying the golden words? Because this is what they are asking in the examination and we are not able to interpret what actually they want. They will say P is how much percent more than Q. The first thing which is strike in your mind is they are asking percent of change. They will say Ram height is how much percent more than Shyam height. That means they are asking percent of change. A salary is how much percent more than B salary. That means they are asking percent of change. The like a area of rectangle is how much percent increase than previous one. That means they are asking percent of change. Are you getting my point or not? Say yes or no, please let me know. Are you getting these things or not? This thing should be very clear to you. Whenever these words will come, the first thing which strike in your mind is they are asking percent of change. If you get this thing, half battle is won. Half battle is won, because this is what the student is not able to understand, what actually question is asking. Okay? So if you understand this, percent of more, increment, percent of decrement, percent of profit, percent of loss, percent of discount, all these simple meaning is they are asking percent of change. And how to find out percent of change, I will tell you. But first, you have to understand this thing. Is this clear to you? Is this clear to everyone or not? The percent of change is a most important concept. The percent of change is a most important concept we should know. If you have a doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I will move to the question part, how to find out the percent of change. Okay. Now understand the initial value and final value. These two values are required to find out the percent of change, and this is not an easy one. I'm explaining with the example, don't worry. This is not an easy one, so please be here for some time, try to understand. Suppose A is equal to 50 and B is equal to 80. Okay? A is equal to 50 and B is equal to 80. Just draw a line like this. The first question is, B is how much percent more than A? This is the first thing. The second part is, A is how much percent less than B. A is how much percent less than B. Okay? Now understand, first thing, please be here. Please be here. I will give you time to note it down. Be here. The first thing which come in your mind is percent of more. Okay, I will make it here. Percent of less. So one thing is very clear. They are going to ask, what they are asking? Percent of change, and which is equal to final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. Okay? Here also they are asking percent of change. So the percent of change is equal to final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. I think no doubt should be here. This is very clear to everybody. Okay? Now the whole concept is here, how to find out the final value and initial value in both the case, or both will be same. Try to understand. Be here. Initial value are the value in which we are changing something, and whatever result we are getting, that is equal to final value. What is the question here? B is how much percent more than A. More than, like suppose, understand, I am asking a question. Your height is, listen carefully, your height is how much percent more than my height. That means you are comparing your height with respect to my height or not. Your height is how much percent more than my height. That means you are comparing your height with respect to my height or not. So we are comparing with respect to my height. That means my height become the initial value. Initial value are the value in which we are changing something and from which we are comparing something. So here see, B is how much percent more than A. That means they are asking the value of B with respect to value of A. That means they are comparing with respect to A. So A will be your initial value. A will be your initial value. And there is a trick also, like whenever this more than or less than word, this word is coming along with A, that means A become your initial value. Why? Because you are comparing with respect to A and you are trying to find out the value of B. So value of B become the final value and value of A become the initial value. I am repeating. Suppose your question is, your height is how much percent more than or less than anything is my height. So my height, you are comparing your height with respect to my height. That means your height become final value and you are comparing with respect to my height. So my height become initial value. Same thing here. B is how much percent more than A. That means with respect to A, you are trying to find out the value of B. So B become final value. This become B. This become A. And this become A. Is this making sense or not? So like whenever this more than or less than word is coming along with A, so that means A is equal to your initial value. Are you getting my point or not? So this simply become B is 80, A is 50 upon 50 into 100. This equal to 60%. That means percent of change is 60%, or I can say that B is 60% more than A. B is 60% more than A. Now, come to the second part. Come to the second part. Now my question reverse. My height is how much percent more or less than your height? अब देखो more or less than your height. So more or less is coming along with your height. That means now your height become the initial value and my height become the final value. Because frame of reference change. Here the question is, A is how much percent less than B. So this less than is coming for B. That means B become my initial value and A become my final value. So A is final value, B is initial value. So the whole scenario change. This become 50 minus 80 upon 80 into 100, and this become minus 3 upon 8 into 100, or minus 37.5%. And why this minus sign? Because here the word is less than. Here the word is less than. So, and we are finding out percent of change. So here less is there. That's why minus sign is coming, because something is getting decreased. So see here, question data is same, language change, answer is changed. So you have to find out very carefully the final value and initial value. And the trick is, like this more than is coming along with A, so this will become your initial value. This less than is coming along with B, so this will become your initial value. So like a less than, more than, this will tell you the initial value and final value. Now see this, take your time, take 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, understand this. If you have a doubt, you can ask. Otherwise you can say, sir, this is clear. Take your time. Tell me whether this is clear or not. This I have taken very basic, and the reason is because I know many students are taking maths classes after 5-6 years, 10 years might be. So that's why I have taken very basic thing. Try to understand this. If still you have doubt, let me know. I will try to explain it again. Try to visualize. The best way to learn maths is try to visualize. Try to understand why this is B minus A upon A and why this is A minus B upon B. Try to understand. Don't answer, doesn't matter, because this question they are not going to ask in the examination. The logic matter. Why this is upon A and why this is upon B. This is, everyone is clear with this or not? Okay, I got many of you are saying clear. That's great. Okay, so I'm moving forward. I hope no doubt. So always understand, whenever they are asking percent of more, percent of less, percent of increment, percent of decrement, percent of profit, percent of loss, percent of discount, the first thing which come in your mind is percent of change. And as soon as percent of change will come, two things you have to find. Yes, every question this trick is applicable. I'm not going to tell you any trick which is applicable only for 1 and 2 example. Okay, sir? See, I always say, learning maths is like to become Shaktiman, or not? Learning maths is to become a Shaktiman. So, from Gangadhar to Shaktiman, it will take time. You cannot become Shaktiman in 1 class or 2 class. You have to be patient. You have to try to understand, try to learn the concept. And I will make sure, next 6-7 days, I'm damn sure you are able to solve all the problems of, all the problem means 70-80% problems of the previous year, or like this year also. But try to understand each and every concept. I'm going very basic now. Try to understand thing. I will take UPSC question also, and you are able to solve very easily. you are able to solve very easily that UPSC question also. I will take that also, don't worry. I will take almost all the previous year questions. So A is equal to 50, B is equal to 80. This was, so I was telling that to become Shaktiman from Gangadhar, you will take some time, because if you remember the Shaktiman episode, from Gangadhar to Shaktiman, they have taken some 4-5 episodes. They have taken 4-5 episodes. Don't worry, Vijay Anand, I will take more question. I will take more question. I will take 2-3 problems. Don't worry for that. And now this we are going to use in every class. This concept we are going to use almost in the every class. So don't worry. We will take lot of problems, ample number of problems here. Okay. Before next problem, let me tell you another thing, and then we will use again this concept. If I'm asking you a question, tell me, the first question is, X is 6 times as large as Y. X is 6 times as large as Y. Second statement is, X is 6 times more than Y. Now tell me, what is the relationship between X and Y in both cases? What is the relationship between X and Y in both cases? Tell me the answer. What is the relationship between X and Y in both cases? First statement is, X is 6 times as large as Y, and second statement is, X is 6 times more than Y. X is 6 times as large as Y, or X is 6 times more than Y. We have 2 statements. Now you have to tell me what is the relationship between X and Y in both the case. First case and second case, what is the relationship between X and Y? I'm waiting for your answers. What is the relationship between X and Y in both the cases? Actually, again, a very important concept is here. That's why I'm taking time here, so that you will understand this thing very clearly. What is the relationship between X and Y in both the case? Okay, so I'm not sure whether you guys are answering or not, because I'm not able to see your comments. So I hope you guys are answering this question. Fine. Okay. So let me tell you the concept. The first thing is, X is 6 times as large as Y. So some student will say, sir, X is equal to 6Y, and some student will say Y is equal to 6X. I will take both the doubt. If you see, X is 6 times large, that means X is bigger than Y or not? X is bigger, 6 times larger than Y. So I can say this is X and this is Y, because X is 6 times as large as Y. So how to find out the relationship whether the first one is correct or second one is correct? So those students who are thinking the second one is correct, so understand second one is not correct. Why? Because x is larger and y is smaller, and there is a equal sign. Equal sign means what? The numerical value of x and y should be equal or not? And when both become equal if I make y larger or not. See, whosoever are thinking the second one is correct, see here, x was already larger, you multiply by 6 and you are saying that become equal to y. Is this possible? No. X was already larger, if you multiply by 6, this become further large and this cannot be equal to y. That's why the second statement is absolutely wrong. Now think about the first statement. X is equal to 6y. X is equal to 6y. Now this is possible. Why? Because x was already larger, y was smaller. So when you multiply by 6 in y, this become equal to x or not? This become equal to x or not? So that means the correct statement is x is equal to 6y. Otherwise what you are doing, who are already rich, you are making them more rich and you are saying that will be equal to poor, and you somehow become politician or not? You somehow become politician. So what you have to do, you have to make the smaller one, you have to multiply by 6 in that, and then it's become equal to the larger one. So this simply meaning is x is equal to 6y, the first statement. Now, the second statement is x is 6 times more than y. I'm damn sure if you see many of the, if you ask this question to the many of the teacher also, they will tell you the wrong answer. Because sometime I have seen UPSC have given the question and they have given the wrong answer. They have given the wrong answer there. So x is 6 times more than y. So whenever I told you, whenever this more word is coming, more word is simple meaning is addition. Whenever there is a word increment, whenever there is a word more, whenever there is a word like something is getting added, so always meaning is addition. All these word meaning is addition. So when the statement is x is 6 times more than y, so we will say x is, x is 6 times more means addition than y. So you can say that this is equal to x is equal to 7y. This x is equal to 7y. So whenever the statement is x is 6 times more than y, so 6 times more than y, so 6 times more than y. More means addition, then y. So you can see that now you can understand the statement x is 6 times, so this represent this. More means addition, then y means y. So whenever this statement is there, x is 6 times more than y, the simple meaning is x is equal to 7y. Whenever the statement is x is 6 times as large as y, that simple meaning is x is equal to 6y. And this is very important one. UPSC will ask question on this, and I'm damn sure many of the teacher, many of the student will mark the wrong option. So please understand, more word means addition. So always whenever this statement is there, you have to use like this. I hope this is clear to everyone. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now we will come to a question. Any doubt, class coordinator, you can send me. I'm not able to see the query of the class coordinator also. Okay. Okay. Now one student is saying I'm not able to understand. Fine. See, this is what? X is 6 times as large as y. So the simple meaning is x is equal to 6y. Okay, see, when the question is x is 6 times as large as y, you can close your eyes, you can think x is 6 times large. So I can say x is equal to suppose 18 and y is equal to 3. So what will happen? X is 6 times large, as large as y or not? So how you can make them equal? How you can make them equal? So y is a smaller one, x is larger one. So if we have to make them equal, we have to multiply 6 into y or not, or 6 into a smaller number or not. And this is what is given. X is 6 times as large as y. So what we have to say? X is 6 times as large as y. The simple meaning is x is 18, y is 3. So how we can make them equal? We can multiply y by 6, and that is equal to x is equal to 6y. Are you getting my point or not? Similarly, the question is x is 6 times more than y. So more than means what? I told you, whenever more word is there, that means simple meaning is addition. Whenever more word is there, that simple meaning is addition, means something is getting added. Something is getting added. And what is getting added? 6 times more. So more means addition, then y. So we have taken y 6 times, that means 6y plus y. So x is equal to 7y. So always understand. Always understand this thing. Somebody is asking why not we have applied percent of change. Have I asked you x is, what is given? 6 times more than y. Anywhere percentage is given. You can check the previous question. In the previous question they have asked the x is how much percent more, or a is how much percent more than y. Percent more, percent less. Nowhere percent is written here. Nowhere percent is written here. Okay, now come to a question. Now come to a question. Now come to a question. The question is like this. X, yeah, okay. P is 6 times more than Q. Then find out Q is how much percent less than P. The question is P is 6 times more than Q, then find out Q is how much percent less than P. How to approach this question? First come to the question part. What is the question part? Find out Q is how much percent less. Now as soon as we will see the percent of less, that means they are asking percent of change, and this is what we have discussed. This is what we have discussed. Now we know the percent of change is final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. What is percent of change? Final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. Now how to find out final value and initial value? Final value and initial value can be find out by this way. So less than P, that means we are comparing with respect to P. That means this become initial value become P and final value become Q. So this simple meaning is Q upon P into 100, and this is what we have to find out. This is what we have to find out. So percent of change is equal to Q minus P upon P into 100. This is what we have to find out. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is making sense. Okay. Now, if we have to solve this thing, we have to find out the relationship between Q and P. We have to find out the relationship between Q and P. And for that, we have to go to the question. Anything is given in the question? Yes. In the question, it is given that P is 6 times more than Q. P is 6 times more than Q. So P is 6 times, I told you more means addition and then Q. I will say if my salary is 20,000 more than your salary. What is the meaning of this? That means whatever is your salary, if I add 20,000 in that, that is equal to my salary or not? So whenever more than word is coming, that simple meaning is addition. I'm repeating, if I say my salary is 20,000 more than your salary, if your salary is 1 lakh rupees per month, so what is my salary? I will add 20,000 in that. Why? Because the question is saying my salary is 20,000 more than your salary. So whatever is your salary more than, that means I will add 20,000 in that. So here the question is P is 6 times more than Q. So more than Q means something is getting added into Q. And how much we are getting added into the Q? We are adding 6 times. And from where we are getting this information? From the question itself. P is 6 times more than Q. So this is showing more than Q, and how much more? 6 times. So we have added 6Q plus Q, that means P is equal to 7Q. Okay? Now come to the question part. We have one thing, P is equal to 7Q. We will put the value here. Now this become Q minus 7Q upon 7Q into 100. And if I solve, minus 6Q upon 7Q into 100. This Q will cancel out. Minus 6 upon 7 into 100. Minus 6 upon 7 into 100. And if you solve this thing, this will come around 85 point something, 85.7 I think. 1 by 7 is 14.28. So if I subtract 14.28, 85.7 around this will come. The answer will be 85 point. You can solve it, you can find out the answer. This is the way how to approach a question. What we have done, the question was find out Q is how much percent more, how much percent less than P. So as soon as we see percent less, so percent less means percent of change. Percent of change means final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. And how to find out the final and initial value? I told you this less than is coming along with P. That means we are comparing with respect to P. So P we have taken as initial value and Q we have taken as final value. So Q upon P Q minus P upon P in 200. And how to find out the relationship between Q and P? We have gone in the question. In the question itself they have given P is 6 times more than Q. So we can find out P is equal to 7Q. We can put the value and we can find out the answer. Tell me if you have any doubt. I hope Priyanka your doubt is now clear. Y 6 times more is equal to 7. X is equal to 6. Why I have explained the concept. No, both statement is not same. That was I was explaining from last 10 minutes. A student is asking, sir, if a statement is, my salary is 6 times of your salary. So that simple meaning is if your salary is suppose I'm saying my salary is 6 times of your salary. If your salary is 1 lakh rupees, my salary becomes 6 lakh rupees. This is a simple meaning, the first statement. The second statement is, my salary is 6 times more than your salary. So 6 times more. That means if your salary is 1 lakh, my salary becomes 7 lakh. Why? Because my salary is 6 times more than your salary. 6 times means 6 lakh more than your. So your salary was 1 lakh. So I will add 6 lakh into 1 lakh. That means my salary become 7 lakh. And this is what I was explaining from last 10 minutes. These two statements are different. If it is given as P is 6 times more than Q, or it is given as P is 6 times Q. P is 6 times Q means P is equal to 6Q. When they are saying that P is 6 times more than Q, that simple meaning is P is 6 times more than Q. These two are the two different statements. Okay, let's take a break. Let's take a break. I'm taking a break or giving you a time. Take your 10 minute time. Whatever doubt you will have, just ask me after the class. I will take one by one all your doubt. But please don't ask same question again and again, sir. Are you getting my point or not? Because see, I have some agenda for the class today. And if you are asking same question again and again, okay, now this is a logical question. What is the difference between 6 plus Q and 6Q? Okay, I will come to that. I will come to that. Just take a break. Let's take a break of 10 minutes. And please, sir, don't ask same question again and again. Try to understand. I am giving you so much time to understand. Yes, ask logical question. I don't have problem. Okay? I don't have problem. But try to understand what I am trying to say. And this is where UPSC is asking the question and where students are making the mistake. This is where students are making the mistake. Okay? So please, 10 minute time, and then one very logical question, 6 plus Q and 6Q plus Q. What is the difference between them? I will tell you. But first, take 10 minute time, revise it, revise thoroughly. If you have a doubt, just let me know. So you can ask your doubt. There was one doubt which looked logical, that, sir, what is the difference between when it will be P is equal to 6Q plus Q? Already we have explained. And when it will be P is equal to 6 plus Q? So this statement is what? The first statement is P is 6 times more than Q. Okay? The first statement. The second statement, this is like P is 6 more than Q. You see, a statement is simple. P is 6 more than Q. Now here 6 times, here only 6. That means a number. Here 6 times. That's why we are taking 6Q. Here only a number. My salary is 20,000 more than you. So that means whatever is your salary, I will add 20,000 in that. So here this will be P is equal to 6 plus Q. The logic will same. More than Q means something is getting added into Q. And what is getting added? 6 is getting added. So we have just added 6 here. But what is getting added here? 6 times. So that's why we are adding 6Q here. Logic will remain same. The more than means addition. In which number addition? In Q addition. How much we are adding in Q? We are adding 6 into Q, because simply the question is P is 6 more than Q. Here 6 times more than Q. More than Q means something is getting added into Q. How much is getting added? 6 times. That's why 6Q, and here only 6. I hope this is clear to you now. I hope this is clear to you now. Okay. Now a question can come like this. This graph is showing the profit of company XYZ in 4 years. This is 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. This is 20 crore, 50 crore, 60 crore, 80 crore, 100 crore, 120. This is given in the crores. This is the profit of company XYZ in 4 years. It is given that. Now how they will ask question? The first question they will ask, the profit of 2022 is how much percent more than profit of 2090. Okay? What is the question? The profit of 2022 is how much percent more than the profit of 2019. Okay? So now, how to approach this question? As soon as the percent of more is coming in your screen or like in your question paper, you can just say that this simple meaning is they are asking percent of change. And percent of change is final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. Can't we take the term large as increment or more? Khushbu, I'm not getting your question exactly. Like a large increment and more, all three are same. Achha, large, you are saying like as large as you are, if you're asking in this respect. So see, what is that saying? As large as, that means equal to. There the large means equal to. There the large means as large as, that means both are equal. 6 times of that is equal, if you are asking in that respect. See, how you will say X is large than Y. This cannot be a statement. X is large than Y. This cannot be the statement. Or X is 6 times large than Y. So, larger than Y hoga either. Are you getting my point or not? This large word cannot be taken because what is the question? As large as a statement is given, that means both are, my salary is as large as your salary. Or my house is as large as your house. That means both the house are almost equal. Both the house are equal. So as large as means what? Almost same. As large as means same thing. As large as means same thing. So here I am coming like the profit of 2022 is how much percent more than profit of 2019. Okay? So that means as soon as the percent more is coming, that means they are asking percent of change. Now the question is final value minus initial value. All the thing is we have to find out the initial value. So this more than is coming for 2019. That means we are talking with respect to 2019. So 2019 profit was 60 crore and 2022 profit was 120 crore. So this Simply final value is 120, initial value is 60 upon 60 into 100. And this is coming, this will come as 100%. Sorry. Somebody was asking, sir, where we will use change upon initial value. Beta, wahi to hai, this is change. Either you can do directly. What is change? Final value minus initial value. So I can write directly, instead of 120 minus 60, I will write directly 120 minus 60 is equal to 60. So this is final value minus initial value is equal to change. So either you can calculate mentally 120 minus 60 and you can directly write 60 upon initial value is 60 into 100, or you can write 120 minus 60. Both are same. So either you can write this as change, or this you can write final value minus initial value. Both things are same, nothing different, no difference is there. Are you getting my point or not? So this is the question which they are asking in DIE, and this is the way we have to find out the final value, the initial value, and we have to give the answer. And we have to give the answer. Any doubt here? Any doubt here? Okay. Now come to the okay, we have taken more than less than, suppose. Now I am talking about 20% increment in 120 or like 150. 20% increment in 150. 20% increment in 150. Suppose this is the question. We have to increase 20% in 150. We have to increase 20% in 150. There are two ways. Whenever there is a word increment, so increment is something is getting added. See, this is marker in my hand. If I have to increase 20% in this marker, what I will do? I will first find out 20%. See, 20% increment. So, simple meaning is 20% increment means addition into 150. Now what is the problem? The problem is this is given in number, this is given in percentage. So either change both into number or change both into percentage. So first I am changing both into number. So this is already given in the number. We can change this into number. What is 20% of 150? We can simply find out 20% of 150 is equal to 30. 20% of 150 is equal to 30. So now what the question become? Instead of 20%, we can say 30 increment in 150 or not. We have changed this into number and the number become 30. Now the question is 30 increment in 150. So the simple meaning is 30 increment means addition in how much? 150. Now this become 180. Now this become 180. So this is the one way we have changed both into number. This was given in number, this was given in percentage. I have changed this into number. When I have changed this into number, this become 30. Now 30 increment in 150, that means this become 180. Are you getting my point or not? Now the second way is we can change both into percentage. So we know that we have to increase 20%. So 20% increment, and this is in itself is always equal to 100%. This is always equal to 100%. So this simple question become 20% plus 100%, and this equal to 120%. This equal to 120%. This equal to 120%. Now this 120% of 150. So how we can find out? 120 upon 100 into 150. This again will come as 180. Both are same, but there are two different approach. Either we will change both into number or we will change both into percentage. Understand, if you are increasing 20% in any number, so the number was already 100%. If you increase, now listen very carefully, as soon as increment word is coming, simple meaning is addition. Simple meaning is addition. As soon as decrement word is coming, simple meaning is subtraction. So whenever I am saying, suppose if I say X is 20% increase, the first thing which come in your mind is X was already 100%. If I increase 20%, that means now X become 120%. X become 120%. If I say X is increased by 30%, that means you can say that now X become 130%. If I say X is increased by 70%, now you can say that X is now become 170%. So increment means you have to add that increment into 100%. You have to add that increment into 100%. Always remember this thing. You have to add that increment into 100%. Any doubt you can ask here? Any doubt you can ask here? Any doubt you can ask here? If you have a doubt in the increment part, you can ask here. Okay. Now, what will happen in decrement case? In decrement case, suppose I am decreasing 20%. So again same logic, decrement means subtraction. So instead of increment, the number is decrease. The number is decrease. The number is decrease. And here the other way out, when you are decreasing, that means something is getting subtracted. Something is getting, and how much is getting subtracted? 20. So when you decrease 20%, that means now the number become 80%. Now the number become 80%, or 80 upon 100 multiply by 150, and that is equal to 120. That is equal to 120. So increment, if I say X is increased by 20%, the first thing which come in your mind is now X become 120%. As soon as we will say X is decreased by 20%, the first thing which come in your mind is X now become 80%. X now become 80%. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is making sense. Now again they are asking question on this statement. They are asking question on this statement. They are asking many question on this single statement. So you have to understand. Look what I am doing. I am telling you the meaning of each and every statement, so that whenever that statement will come in the examination, you are able to interpret that. Because what happened? Generally teacher will tell you what is the meaning of percent of change and all, but they never tell you what is the meaning of x is 70% more than y, x is 7 times more than y. So all these statements students are always confused. They are not able to reach in the final answer. We will tell you how to find out the final value and initial value, but we never tell you which is the final one, which is the initial one, and the student always get confused there. That's why I'm trying to give you the method by which you are able to find out the very meaning of each and every statement. So if a statement is given, x is 20% more, 20% increased, that means now x was initially 100%, now x become 120%. Okay? Now, how this will come in a statement? Suppose statement is x is 20% more than y. Now, this is again a statement. How to interpret this? X is 20% more than. Now, more than y, something is getting added into y. How much is getting added? 20%. 20% of what? 20% of y itself. 20% of y itself. Now if you solve this, if you see very closely, this become what? This become 120% of y or not? So when the question is x is 20% more than y, that means y is in itself 100% and x is 20% more. That means directly we can say that, directly we can interpret that x become 120% of y. Why? Because now x is 20% more, so that means y was 100%, now when 20% more, so either you can say directly x become 120% of y, or the second way is you can say that x is equal to 20, first you will find out 20%, then you will add y in that, then you will add y in that. Okay, suppose the statement is A is 75% more than B, more than B. What is the meaning of this? We can directly say that A is equal to 175% of B, or the other way is A is 75% more than B. More than B means something is getting added into B. How much is getting added? 75% of B. So we can simply add 75% of B into B. Now, how this will come into the question, let me tell you. They will ask question like this: X salary is 20% more than 20% more than Y salary. Then find out Y salary is how much percent less than X salary. Sorry, X salary is 20, हाँ ठीक है. Then find out Y salary is how much percent less than X salary. Now I'm telling you the traditional method, there are so many ways we can do it within fraction of second also this question, but that will take time. I told you to become Shaktiman it will take time. So first let's do by traditional method, then with time you will understand and you can do it without pen and pencil also. What is the question? X salary is 20% more than Y salary. So we can say that X salary is 20% more than Y salary, or we can directly write that 120% of Y salary is equal to X. So there are so many ways to do that. One way is we can take a value. If I take Y is equal to 100, so what will happen? X become 120 and Y become 100. See here, X become 120, Y become 100. Now we can say like this or not? Y salary is 100, X salary is 120. We can say from here or not? X salary is 20% more than Y salary. Now the question is, Y salary is how much percent less than X salary? So if you see, we are increasing 20 here, because when we increase 20, this become 120. This become 120. And now the question is, Y salary is how much percent less than X salary? Y salary is how much percent less than? So if you see, this is 20 less only. This is 20 more, this is 20 less. But what is change? The change is like, initially they are asking with respect to X. We are increasing this 20 with respect to, Y. We are increasing this 20 with respect to Y. But in second part, if you see very clearly, find out Y salary is how much percent less than X salary. That means now X become your initial value and Y become your final value. The X become your initial value, Y become your final value. So what is the percent of change? What is the percent of change? So percent of change is equal to final value minus initial value. So now the final value become 100, initial value become 120 upon 120 into 100. So this become 20 upon 120 into 100, 1 by 6 into 100, and that will equal to 16.66. How that is coming, we will discuss tomorrow, don't worry. So there was an increment of 20 and there is a decrement of 20, but what is the difference? The difference is, initially we are finding out this 20 with respect to this 100, but now we are finding out this 20 with respect to this 120. So the base value is changing. The initial value now become 120, and that's why the percentage change. That means X salary is 20% more than Y salary, but Y salary is 16.66 less than X salary. And why it is so? Because the initial value or the base value is changing. Any doubt you can ask here? Any doubt you can ask here? Many students are asking the question, sir, large में increment होगा कि नहीं होगा? But just see the exact meaning of the words. If the question is X is as large as, so go and find out the meaning of as large as in the dictionary or in the internet, and you will find out as large as means more or less same. When the word is larger, X is 7 times larger than Y. Now this is not equal. 7 times larger than Y, that means the same essence is coming like more than. So don't remember the words, okay, if go by essence, go by essence. Whenever the word is larger is there, as large as and larger, they are two different words. So try to understand the English word, try to understand their meaning. Otherwise, if you remember now, this will give you another thing, okay, apart from your GS, you have to remember in the maths also, okay, if more is coming, I have to add. If large is coming, as large as coming, I don't have to add. Please understand the exact meaning. Try to understand the meaning of that sentence. Don't remember the words. Why I'm saying, why I'm emphasizing more on less and more? Because these words are generally coming in the examination. But what you are doing, I'm trying to give you the practical thing, how you can understand the question and how you can answer. And what you guys are doing, you guys are remembering, and this is what is the anti of my teaching. I try to give you the practical part. Okay, this is will come. Now you have to think about, go by essence of that sentence. Go by essence of that sentence rather than remembering that sentence. Okay, if more is coming, I have to add. If profit is coming, I have to add. Try to understand that. What is the meaning of more? Forget about the question. Think about a practical example. I have 20 rupees more than you. What is the meaning of this? If you have 100 rupees, I have 120 rupees. And how come 120 is coming? Because I am adding 20 into your rupees or not. Are you getting my point or not? So please understand, don't try to remember the sentence. It will give you extra burden. Then there is no meaning of my teaching. I try to, because what I am trying to do is, I am trying to give you the practical example. Try to understand, try to visualize this. Try to visualize this. Try to understand this. If you are not able to understand, if you are remembering like GS, then what is the point of teaching? You can remember the formula itself. When I open the maths book, when I start teaching, when I open the maths book, I don't name the book, there was a book and in percentage itself, 25 formula was given. For every condition, there was a formula. So I thought if a student have to remember this much formula, it's become very difficult for them. And that's why I start teaching by connecting each and every threads. And now if you are remembering, okay, more means addition, again I am saying, why I am taking more less? Because they are the practical example. I have 20 rupees less than you. What is the meaning of this? Whatever you have, if you subtract 20 in that, you will get my money or not? You will get my money or not? Are you getting my point or not? So try to understand, try to visualize the thing. Try to understand, try to visualize the thing. Rather than remembering, if more is coming, I will add. If large is coming, I will subtract. Okay. Now many students have doubt here. Let me explain again. This is one way. Suppose if I take X is 20% more than Y salary, if suppose I am taking Y salary as 100, so Y salary I have taken 100, what is X salary? X salary is 20% more than Y salary. That means I will find out 20% of this number, 20% of this number is equal to 20, more than I will add. Now this become 120 or not? Okay. Now what is the question? Go by the question. If you are not able to understand, find out Y salary is how much percent less than X salary. Up now they are asking percent of less. That means they are asking percent of change. And now what is percent of change? Final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. Final value upon initial value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. And now what is the initial value here? I told you this less than is with x, that means x become your initial value and y become your final value. So this become y minus x upon x into 100. Y minus x upon x into 100. Now put the value. Y value is equal to 100. X value is equal to 120 upon 120 into 100. When you solve this, this will come as 1 by 6 into 100. That means minus 16.66%. This will come as 16.66%. And why I have taken 100 and 120? You can take any value. Why I have taken 100 and 120? I have taken only 100. 120 is coming according to the question. Question is saying that X salary is 20% more than Y salary. That means whatever is the Y salary, I will add 20% in that, and that is equal to X salary. So this become 120, this become 100, and now according to the question, I have taken percent of change. I have find out the answer 16.66. Okay, ठीक है, that's it for today. वो एक क्वेश्चन रह गया जो डिस्टेंस वाला था. So tomorrow starting I will take that question. Please remind me. In tomorrow starting I will take that one question. Apart from that, please revise this. Try to understand this. Please look the today video. Look multiple times today, please. See, I'm not asking you more than 10 days from you. I'm asking you 10 days into 3 hours, that means 30 hours. And I will make sure your CSAT maths portion will be clear. Or you are able to solve 60-70% of your maths portion. But what you have to do, this for this classes, next class, please revise today class. Next 10 days, please focus on your maths part. Please, I know you have already lot of pressure of GS, but please try to revise the maths today so that tomorrow class become easy, and whatever doubt you have, any doubt, I will take in the starting of the class tomorrow. Please revise thoroughly, and whatever doubt you will have, tomorrow I will take it up. Thanks for today. Let's meet tomorrow at same time.